Abraham realized that God had given him the victory. He wasn't any legal obligation to tithe, but he knew and celebrated that everything came from God. And to show his trust in God, to show his love for God, he tithed 1/10 of everything that he had gotten. Because he recognized and celebrated God as his protector and his provider. Giving no less than 1/10 of our income is a clear command by God in his scriptures. Has God called us to have a greater focus on supporting his kingdom? To give in a way that says that our highest priority is to make sure that the works of God continue despite the economic challenges. The fifth way that Abraham modeled generosity is by returning the possessions to the rightful owners. When he retrieved Lot, when he retrieved the possessions that they had taken, they were his. Abram could have kept those possessions and been an extremely wealthy man, having the riches of at least 4 cities worth of people. But had his greed overtaken him, he would have most likely lost sight of God's plan or his provision. Instead of thinking that God will provide, he will say, I have no need of God to provide. I have everything I could ever want. I'm the wealthiest man in all of Israel. But he didn't keep the possessions for himself. He returned them to their original owners. I'm sure at a great shock to them. Because he wanted them to know that he hadn't got wealthy at their expense. He hadn't got wealthy on the backs of other people. His wealth, his blessing, his possessions, all came from God, and he wanted everyone to know it. Sometimes in our business dealings, things happen that are marginal. Whose money is this, anyway? Well, we may have a lawful claim to it. But there may be a little lingering question in our minds. Or maybe the practice is a little bit questionable that we're doing, but it's legal. If there is any question in our minds, or any doubt, we need to show the highest integrity imaginable. I mean, imagine if Abraham had kept all of those possessions that he had retrieved. Now he's a wealthy man. But everybody around him hates him. They resent him. And now he tries to tell them what a good God he worships, and they should worship him too. What sort of impression would that leave on the people? How could Abraham go and evangelize to these people after taking all of their possessions? Their minds would always have been on the money that was once theirs. Now, instead, when they look at Abraham, what they see is a man who is strangely generous, crazy, in fact, to give back their possessions. Why? They're curious. Why is this man so generous with these belongings that he could have kept with my belongings? He could have kept my retirement, but he gave it back. He could have kept the inheritance that I had planned for my children, the college fund that I had set up, but instead he gave it back. Why did this guy do that? I would have done it. If I was in Abraham's position, I would have kept it, right? So then they look at him and say, why did you do this, you crazy, crazy old man? And he says, because God is powerful enough to provide me with everything I could ever want. You should get to know this God. And they are far more willing to listen when he tells them about God. When in doubt about a business dealing that we're involved with, we need to be generous to others and have the highest level of moral integrity as a witness to Christ. But now, despite Abram's determination to honor God by not keeping any wealth for himself, he did not deny his men that which they had earned by risking their lives, giving their effort and their time to retrieve Lot and the possessions of the cities. The sixth principle that Abram exhibits is generosity to those under his employ. Abram didn't see the people around him as slaves to be used for his own profit, but as people of God and people that God has put in his life to help him and for him to help. If you're an employer, or if you hire someone to do a job around your house, God may be calling you to be generous that person. Share your company's victories with your employees. Pay them appropriately for their work. Celebrate them through generosity. We as employers, or people hiring, need to be sure that we do not deprive others, either by oversight or for selfish gain. See, we need to remember the model that Abraham sets for godly generosity during tough economic times. He teaches us these 6 ways that we can be generous even during these times. And as I said at the beginning, all 6 may not be for you. But how is it that God is challenging you to be generous in these difficult times? Is He calling you to take someone in, like Abraham took in Lot? To take less for yourself, so that someone else can have the more valuable property? Or forgiving for